I feel like a big part of it's also this idea of like pride, like I'm thinking like, oh, the team won't be okay if I'm not there, or I'm not being 100% myself, or I'm not showing up enough. But it's like my friends were pointing out like last night when I was kind of breaking down with the practice for Chick-fil-A stuff. They were like, dude, like you're probably doing too much. Like that's probably the actual issue. And I'm like, oh, duh. But like also, it's really hard for me to like trust that. I mean, it's also just it is just pride. It's like, oh, like I need to be there 100% of the time. I need to be myself, like the best myself all the time, or I'm not going to be lovable to people. But it's like you're allowed to be imperfect with people, and if you're not allowed to be imperfect around them, that's like a problem that they need to get over because they're unable to accept themselves being imperfect too. So it's like I don't know. I think it's hard, I think, to accept that I'm not operating at my best right now, or accept that I can't show up all the time and give 100%. But a lot of that's just pride and not wanting to let go of control. So it is now probably like 1:30, 1:45. It's been a quieter kind of morning. Everyone just working on some stuff, using my computer to still like render things. I had some thoughts that I wanted to talk about. Now that it's been a few hours, I think despite knowing I need to change, it's still hard to let go, even if the thing that exists is difficult. For an example, like last night, I just got this new phone. I actually kind of had a hard time switching over. I was like, ooh, but I like really, it's only been a few months or maybe a year at this point of me having this new older phone. Like, I don't know, it was somehow like a little bit hard. It was like a little bit of like, oh, I'm gonna miss this. It's just like the dumbest thing because it's just a phone, and like this upgrade is so much better. It's like going from like a dusty old car to like a Cadillac or something. But I think despite the knowing that it needs to change because this old phone has got a kettlebell dropped on it and it's smashed, it's still hard to let go. And I think you can get used to almost anything and it becomes like home to you. And in some ways, it can be really hard to let go of that. So, I don't know. Another thing, again, is just like, I think I've been struggling a lot with, like priorities. Okay. One of my friends asked me last night what I think my priorities are. And I kind of rambled what I wrote. It was just like nothing. It meant nothing. And it was just like, vague. I care about this, this, and this. And like, I feel like I care too much about that. But it's like, I think realistically, like practically, I've been putting people first. And there's nothing wrong with that, but as far as priorities go, I can't serve other people unless I'm taking care of myself. And taking care of myself well also involves keeping other things in right proportion. The people that I'm around, I love them to death, but they aren't going to be with me forever. Like, they're not going to be with me if I go to Japan. They're not going to be with me if I'm on the other side of the world and doing other design projects, or if I get a job in that, And even if they are with me as long as possible in this life, they still won't be with me, when I'm on my death. Like, they'll be, they can be as physically present as possible, but they still can't be inside my head, They can't replace my own thoughts, my relationship with myself. Like, I can hear the truth from other people's lips, but if I don't believe it, it won't change me. And I think, along with what I was saying before, I think, my priorities have definitely been other people, including, like, my family, especially with the holidays coming up. That's been a big stressor for me, trying to navigate finally establishing boundaries, and a lot of the way my family is, if I'm not intentional, it's kind of like having that phone with a kettlebell dropped on it. Like, I can have this really nice other option, but just because the other thing is comfortable, it's hard to let go of. Finally saying, like, hey, this is what I believe, this is who I am, and you can take it or leave it, is really hard. I mean, even if you're not doing anything huge, if you've never done it, it's really hard. So, anytime I'm home, it's like I don't even exist. It's like I'm just existing for other people. And I think I've fallen into that lately too with like the other people I'm around here. And it's like, no, like they can serve me too. Like I can be a dependent for other people. Like I can be a burden and I shouldn't have to apologize for that. It's not like I'm intentionally going to be difficult or like let me go out of my way to be a pain in the butt to these people. No, it's just like I'm okay if my needs are a little bit costly, if they're, what I actually need. So, and I think another thing I noticed is I always compare the most when I know I'm not doing what I should. Like, if I know that I'm not taking care of myself well, my first response is to look at other people who aren't taking care of themselves well and say, hey, let's focus on that. Let's focus on that problem. And it's like, dude, like, there can be multiple people suffering at once. Like, your problem is relevant. Just because someone else is struggling with something doesn't mean that you're not. So it's not like other people are going to just forget about the fact that you have this huge issue. Yeah. It's also, I think that part of that too is like if I'm comparing myself to, my best version of myself when I feel my worst. And I'm expecting the most from myself when I don't feel like it. And then another thing is just because things have normally gone from bad to worse doesn't mean they will now. I think it's really important to know that like I'm an adult and now that I'm an adult I can change the direction of things a little bit. So if things start to feel weird, I can redirect. Like I don't have to add to the pain that I'm experiencing just because other things in the past have happened simultaneously. Yeah, I feel like another thing is just like to do great things, you need great support. Like these things don't happen on accident. You can't change the world if you're in a really bad situation. It's really hard to if you're not taking care of your basic needs to get past those things. And I think another thing is that everybody can be happy at the same time and it doesn't invalidate your happiness. And I think comparison is so irrelevant to happiness and success because not only are they living a completely different life from you, if you were living their life and if you had those things they have, you probably wouldn't be happy. You would probably be miserable because it's not what you specifically need. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like my priorities have been out of whack, and I'm even prioritizing trying to maintain this like ideal image to you guys because I feel like that's what the world wants. But the truth is the vulnerability and the authenticity and being just me is enough. Like I don't have to have some amazing story to tell in order to tell it. And I think subtlety is very underrated in existence. Like I can let my story be fairly simple and it can still have impact. And I feel like a lot of people are in situations like mine where you're, you don't have these amazing experiences all the time and you're, always holding on to hope that one day you'll, have something a little bit better. But I think another thing is it's really important not to like save your happiness for when you're at some ideal state. I was thinking about this earlier because I know in the past I've struggled with disordered eating, and even now I think it's kind of made a little bit of a resurgence with some of the environmental factors contributing to some stress, which makes me feel like I want to control things, which I'm like consciously fighting. I'm consciously fighting these thoughts, but it's still really hard because I look in the mirror and I'm always seeing myself the way I did back then and seeing not just what's there but what could be. And I think that just robs you of so much happiness. And you think that it's like, if I have a goal, I can work towards it and reach it. And I am that kind of person. But when it's a goal that's oriented towards something you have incomplete control over, then it can be very unproductive. Because really, what I'm trying to change isn't my body. It's me. I am trying to change into somebody who's worthy of love. And that is impossible to do because I'm already that. I just don't see it. And it's really hard looking in the mirror sometimes because I just don't, like, I see facts. Like, I see, this is my arm. Like, this is what it could be, and this is what it could be if I don't do some things. I don't see it in a whole. I don't see it as like, oh, I'm okay. Like, I am pretty. I am this. I don't see that. I see, this is what is, um, here's how this part of my body looks. So I'm like looking at in part instead of in whole. And it's hard for me to remember to be confirming and affirming of myself because it can start to feel demeaning almost. And while we are simple and human, and we always have areas we can grow in, I think it's really important to be kind to yourself and to growth, and not cruel to yourself and to growth. So all that to say, I have done some thinking a little bit, and I'm trying to keep myself on track with what is actually true and not starting to believe that automatic what's comfortable, which is to shut myself down, not take care of myself, and to try to achieve and overachieve in any situation. And even then, the grades don't matter. The grade itself isn't enough for me. It's about knowing that I've pushed myself too far, which is unhealthy, and I'm trying so hard not to think that way. And talking through this is me doing that. And for me to be realistic about that, I'm going to set up a bunch of renders, and I'm just gonna take a slower evening and just chill. I need to just chill. Like, bro, I am so tired. But you know what, like, one thing at a time. So I need a break from like, I don't want to set up any renders. I don't want to make any models. So I'm just gonna do what, get those renders going that need to be running in the background, and then start thinking about what I want to do for my my table and all that stuff, or visually. So when I do it, when I try to put it together, it comes easily, and I don't have to fight so hard. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go eat because everything's harder when you're hungry. So I'm editing my video from last Monday, and it's been over a week now, obviously, but I'm listening to what I say in the video, and I'm like, it's the advice that I need to take right now. Like, I'm being unsustainable, I'm not prioritizing the right things, and like all that stuff. It's very true. Like, it's very pertinent. Like, I can get really caught in overworking when I don't want to confront my own insecurities, right? Like, it's so obvious, but it's so difficult to actually act on. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm a little shaken that I can't take my own advice. So this is like, I'm gonna have to take a slow time this evening and just de-stress and chill out. And I'm working on some renders right now. They're running in the background, so I've been just like watching my own videos and like thinking about, okay, how can I rest enough so that I can be prepared for the next couple of days, if I can perform the next couple of days, and and then how do I rest well afterwards. So there's a lot on my mind, but just wanted to check in and be like, hey, I'm a massive hypocrite and I can't take my own advice to save my life. But also, I want to keep in mind that this is the final week of a very long semester, so I can't really be too hard on myself for being a little bit sick, a little bit unsustainable. As soon as possible, I'm going to be back to myself, and I'm going to be back to doing things in a way that makes sense for me, in a way that is successful for me, liking myself, liking what I do, and liking how I do it. I'm excited for that, but in the meantime, I need to just like myself and like what I do, because I do not like how I'm doing it. I can redirect, but at the moment, it's just gonna have to be a strong push to the end, and I hope that this next semester I can just be a little more relaxed and a little bit more sustainable about how I do this, because right now I'm being reckless and it's not smart at all. So one of my roommates just told me about like an hour ago now, but like, I'm going on the trip to Kosovo in May. My school is doing like a trip there to help judge like a science competition. So that'll be fun. Let's see if I can vlog it. Fingers crossed. Let's see if that is an option. And I don't know, that's gonna be crazy. It's in May though, so that's like quite a few months away. I'm sorry, I wish I was more excited right now, but I'm just so like dead tired that it'll hit me in a few days and then I'll be like, whoa, dang, I'm doing this really cool thing. But like right now I'm like, can we just finish this thing that's on the screen right now and then we can talk about that? So, yep, I'm excited. So it is a little after 10. I am editing another video just because I feel like it and I wanted something fun to do before I went to bed. Um, I've got one presentation tomorrow, a flight down to Atlanta, and then 2 presentations on Friday. I feel a lot better than I did this morning. We still have some gross, but I just had a bath and I'm gonna go to bed soon, so I think that's gonna be it for now. I don't remember if I mentioned this yet, and I'm a little too delirious to like know if I've already said it, but I did get 100% in that math class that I took, and I'm so happy that that turned out. I enjoyed that. It was a break from like all the design homework, but I don't know, it's nice seeing hard work paying off at least in one area. So